Ladies and gentlemen of the world, are you ready for another Politicking While Being Black in America episode with a great, super rising TikToker? I've got one for you. And we're going to cover today classism in the Black community. We're going to cover education and liberation in the Black community. And we're going to also talk about a Republican whose balls finally dropped and is going to stand up to Trump and this atrocious tax bill. And we'll also end on education, someone that went to battle against a dumbass Republican and shut them down. All that starts on my channel right now.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that full. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
That's right, everybody. She's here. The sister from TikTok, Alexis, ladies and gentlemen, not to be confused with that damn cheap ass car company Toyota making Lexuses. She is a human Alexis. You see the name, thought daughter, final boss. My sister, how you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me on, Lamar. I have to say that little intro gets me fired up. I'm like, let's go. I love that.
I'm glad people like that. Jada actually hit me up. It's mine personally. I'm very thankful, and it gets everybody, Black, white, Hispanic, everybody gets fired up from it because it's pretty dope. Pretty dope.
If you're not grooving, I don't trust you.
Thank you. See, you see, she has already earned 3/4 of that name, ladies and gentlemen. The thought daughter final boss. She done got some of it, and I always go ahead and start out shouting out the audience. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me as I'm transitioning my channel more toward politics, because right now it's so important that we partake in what's going on in this country, because you guys have seen how the work that people have done for years can be rolled back in 6 months. And that's why it's important that we get engaged. It's important we get our people thinking about education and getting involved. And by the way, if you want to get this lovely shirt I'm wearing because you want justice for Pluto, because damn it, they should have grandfathered the damn planet in before Pluto hits escape velocity and decides to leave our solar system. Go ahead and get that t-shirt. Shop Life Gains. Link is in description. And Alexis's TikTok is in description as well. Go support that sister. Alexis, I always start these out with something I call politicking while being Black in America, where you give any petty grievance you have to let people know what's getting on your nerves. So I'll ask you what's yours today, and then I'll give you mine.
It's something different every day, but today I'm going to go with people who say it's not that deep. Is it not that deep, or are you just not capable of thinking critically? That's what I want to call out, because I mean, if you really take 3 seconds of critical thought, you need like an ounce of it. You're going to get to a deeper conclusion. There is always a deeper question to be answered. Like, I'm a person who kind of asks, why? Why is this the way things are done? Why can't we do better? And I think a lot of people they stop before that question. They don't even ask for any deeper analysis. And unfortunately, the way our society is set up, it requires critical thought.
100% agreed. One of my long narratives that I feel like the Democratic Party has to do is get back in schools and start teaching critical thinking as early as possible. Hell, my daughter is 4 and she can critically think better than most of the lowest rings of MAGA. I'm being 100 with you on that. And so I 100% agree with you. That must be done. Mine for today is kind of similar to yours, but it's only a different shade. And that is, when I meet people, we get to talking about social issues, racial discrimination, that type of thing. And the first thing that come out of these people's mouths is, I don't see color. When you say that, the first thing I know your ass see is color. And you want me to vote? Yes. I am so done with that conversation, because basically what you're saying is you want to turn a blind eye to the history and the racism in this country, because it's uncomfortable for you to have to address the issue. There's a reason we have these issues. And for most people who are marginalized, it has a lot to do with their skin color. And it has a lot to do with the authoritative power that has been set in stone by these fucking founding fathers. So what would you have to say in retort to that, Alexis?
Well, I'd say you're absolutely right, 100%. It's a cop-out. It's the easy way out. It's lazy. If you don't see color, you're saying you don't see all the nuanced parts of who I am that make up my own self-identity. There are no purple, green people. Like, I love comics, I love Marvel, but unfortunately, in this reality that we live in, there are no other colored people. So again, if you don't see color, you're taking the easy way out, and you're choosing to really just ignore all of the systemic problems that we're facing. And we're never going to solve them if you can't at least acknowledge that they exist first and foremost.
100%. Well said. And having said that, Alexis came to the table today with two extremely thought-provoking issues she wanted to cover, and we'll go to the first one. I'll let you pick. Which one do you want to cover first? Black elitism and colorism, or do you want to do education and liberation?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of overlap, but we can get into the liberation and education first, and I feel like it'll all trickle in together to begin with.
Okay. So this is going to be her topic. She gets the lead on this, but as always, I bring a clip that we can study as evidence to help develop the narrative we're going to talk about today. And so I have a sister up here who's talking about education and liberation. You probably know her, Alexis, because I didn't tell Alexis what clip I was going to get.
I know. What do you got for me?
Here we go. Let's take a look.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it's your girl, Tip. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think people who care about education should be doing in this political moment, particularly Black folk. If you're new to me, my name is Dr. Tip. I'm a scholar, professor, and life coach who works with my clients using Black history, Black culture, and Black spirituality. I'm also a career-long educator and your favorite HBCU professor. I want to read you a little bit of my favorite book, 2000 Seasons by Ayikwe Irma, and then I want to bring it full circle, hopefully, to what I think we need to be doing about Black education and making sure our young people understand the world that they live in, okay? So again, this is one of my favorite books. If you've not read 2000 Seasons and you are a Black person or an ally, and I'm not even getting into the back and forth about whether or not they exist, this is a book that's a must read. And if you could, I would encourage you to read it at least once a year and read it in community, all right? So the passage I'm going to read you is just one paragraph. It's from page 22 if you have this version. And it's, pieces cut off from their whole are nothing but dead fragments. From the unending stream of our remembrance, the harbingers of death break off meaningless fractions. Their carriers bring us this news of shards. Their message, behold this paltriness. This is all of your history. Now, if you've been paying attention, you've been pretty frustrated the last probably decade or so about the state of Black education, about the awareness of students to their culture, to the traditions of their people, to the histories of their folk. And Carter G. Woodson wrote about this in 33. If your students don't understand all of the contributions that their people make to the world, then they accept a certain second-class citizenship, right? And I would argue that that is still the case. That is still the case. If students don't understand who they are as a part of a whole, if they only see themselves as fragmented pieces, then they forget that, one, they have agency to affect the world around them, and two, they accept mistreatment. In this particular political moment, I think it's extremely important that those of us who have a working understanding of Black history and how it is applicable to understanding the systems that we may be up against today, we must share that information with others. And most particularly, we have to be reading with our young people and helping them see the connections between different things and different people. The educationist John Dewey once said that if a people don't educate themselves, they cease to become a people, right? And I think for far too long, we've allowed other people to come to us and tell us we're but fragments of a whole. We're broken off from our root. We don't have anything of substance to tell the world that we created. And we should know that that's not true. We should know that people are still eating off of our culture, off of our contributions. But do our young people know it? make sure you're telling somebody. And if you haven't, go get 2000 Seasons. Let's read it together.
Alexis, I wanted to give you a video that overlaps a lot of what you're planning to talk about today.
Damn.
Take it away. The floor is yours, my sister.
Well, first off, thank you for sharing that. Everything she said was facts. And now I have to go grab that book, first of all. That was beautiful. And I really love how she talks about us being fragments of each other. Like, I feel like there's a lot of discourse about how African Americans are so separated from our root history and our culture. Like, we have this unique, beautiful, like, tapestry of people coming together, and it's so unique to us, specifically in America. And I love to see people encouraging education in all forms. That is the first step to Black liberation. There is no liberation without education, and I really feel like specifically that is the one key bridge. That is the missing piece. And I don't remember who said it, but it's like a really cliche little saying where it's like, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. I hate that. I hate that quote so much, but it does speak to this necessity that we do need to encourage reading amongst our community. Like, the average American reads like 0.1, 0.5 of a book a year. So there's a lot of people who aren't picking up a book in a year. And that is a staggering statistic to me when you think about it, because so much of the ways to elevate yourself come from learning and education and gaining more knowledge. Everything they want to keep from us is in a book.
Well said. One of the reasons why I'm on this journey of taking my channel from just doing movies and TV shows to getting more engaged in politics is because this is a way I can give back in terms of educating my people with everything I've endured my whole 43 years of life, from business to my political background, to my financial background, to how I trade stocks. I had to learn all that through copious reading, through copious experiences, through copious, bland, boring ass meeting with white dudes who were drunk that thought I was drinking, but I was sipping water, taking notes, memorizing shit day and night, just memorizing shit, and then trial and error. It is so important that I feel like Black people continue the narrative of community, which is going to hit another one of your issues in a minute. Because when we empower ourselves as an individual and then give it to the community, that's how we uplift the entire community. We've gotten to a point where now it's all me, 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 me. And what are we seeing from that? Dumbass brothers going to MAGA and not getting nothing for it.
Insane.
And then the other thing that I've always told people is, I think and this is, well, I ain't even gonna say that. I've always said, I'm not even gonna try to couch this. I have always said that the strongest individual humans ever created is the Black American woman. And what are Black American women doing right now in America? They're leading the nation in education. Leading the nation in education. And what is that doing? Helping them liberate themselves from several oppressors. Number one, the husband oppressor or boyfriend oppressor. I'm just keeping it.
No, you're so right. You didn't say a single lie. Keep going.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Then the white oppressors that will have you think that you're not good enough to be in the boardroom. You're not good enough to be a leader. You're not good enough to run community. And then you have certain religious people that would have you think that because you're an educated Black woman, you're not allowed to be submissive to a husband. Black educated people can do all that. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. And my last point to everybody would be, if you are someone who's educated, yes, make sure you're teaching your children about our plight for sure, because the schools are not doing it. But then also, if you can stomach it, get involved in your local school districts. I am highly active in my child's early child care program, and to the point where I'm thinking about running for school board. I'm not just going to be showing up to PTA meetings and y'all taking shit out of books that children need to hear. We need to hear stuff that y'all want to take out because y'all don't want to deal with the problem because y'all so afraid that children will grow up having sympathy, empathy for the plight we have gone through, which would be true, and I'm going to fight for it. Simple as that.
That's so admirable, Lamont, like 100% too. And even you just in this transitioning on your channel, I say this a lot. It's like, if you're not speaking up, you're complicit. And it doesn't matter what your niche is. My TikTok page has no niche. I talk about anything under the sun, whatever comes in my brain, I just spit it. Right. And I think it's important that everybody with a platform in some capacity speaks up for what's right. Because if we all are mum, nothing gets done. And people's oppression just grows and grows and grows. But like you said, the Black women are leading the charge. I'd say when you don't know what to do, look to a Black woman, and that's a good place to start. I missed 2 degrees on my back. Education is incredibly important to me. And I agree with you 100%. That is a really important way to give back to the community. And it's a great way to stay involved, is uplifting others. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. Post your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think. Her link is in the video description. My link is in description. Download the podcast, Politics of Being Black in America. It'll be up there within about 24 hours. Share with your friends. Let's uplift together. Alexis, I've got my subjects for you. I told you I'm a business guy. I'm into the finances and the money. But just as much as you're into education, I'm into it too. And all my mentors, my best mentors, have been women. All of them. Black, white, I've got them. And the one mentor that taught me to critically think was my college psychologist. That's where the critical thinking clicked with me. And I started challenging things that society does, where they tell you one thing, but then they behave another one. Where do we see that? In the Republican Party. So having said that, I have a clip of someone going to debate in a very, very good think tank. You probably have already seen it, but we're going to watch it again. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look.
The suggested budget cuts $1.5 trillion. I wish it should be even more.
That is not true.
No, it is. It's okay. You could look it up.
$1.5 trillion should be the equivalent of cutting the entire American military budget and a half.
He's advocating for raising taxes on the ultra wealthy. We'll see if that materializes.
That is an income tax. The ultra wealthy generally do not take a large portion of their income from an income tax and take it instead from capital gains.
Well,
fundamentally increasing an 8% tax on Elon Musk, who takes like $10,000 as a salary or something stupid, will not make any material difference. This is a straw man argument, and it is obfuscating from the fundamental issue that the government for and run by oligarchs.
That young man was so right. If you're not in business, you don't understand that rich people live off their capital gains. And let me break it down to you a little deeper, Alexis, for what they do. When they get to the point where their income can be put somewhere in any investment vehicle, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's bonds, wherever, what they wind up doing is put it in there. They don't touch it. They take out a loan against those assets, because when you take out a loan, there's no tax on a loan. And so in essence, the only thing they do have to pay is whatever small interest rate they have to pay on the loan, because it's insured with whatever their asset is. And then when they get their little capital gains, they're only paying about a 14.5% rate. And if you're not smart enough of an American electorate to understand that, you fall for the banana in the tailpipe of what the Republicans say every single time about them cutting taxes. First of all, the average podunk trailer park trash don't know what taxes are being cut in the first place. They don't know it. They have no idea. When a Republican says they're cutting taxes, they're not cutting nothing that you're dealing with. They're not cutting your income taxes. They're definitely not going to cut any property taxes, and they're not going to change highway tax. They're not cutting that. What they are doing is trying to figure out how to eat around the edges, reduce the capital gains tax, reduce corporate taxes, and therefore empower themselves, because it's a vicious loop that they're in. When a big corporation wants to move into your community, let me tell you how they get traded. They will offer them all kinds of bukus of money up front. Then they offer them tax breaks to put their corporations there. Then they will let them have the space to not pay taxes on the property for 10 years, because they're supposed to be creating jobs.
Oh.
If you were an empowered people, you would understand that for the longest time, the Republican Party has been preaching that the backbone of business in any community is the small business. Why give some corporation that's moving into your community all that money when you could break that money down and give it to all the small businesses, the trade schools in your area to uplift the community that is already there, and tell that corporation if they want to move in, fuck it, you're going to have to pay. So people, that's what we mean when we say you've got to get educated, and these things need to be put into schools. Alexis, your rebuttal.
Well, shoot, unfortunately, it's not much of a rebuttal so much as it is, let me just agree with you there 100%. It's sad to me because the way I view the party system in America, unfortunately, is the Democrats are the lesser of two evils, right? There's a platform for people there, and we can get work done through that party using it as a vehicle. Obviously, there's obviously going to be things we want to change, and we can nitpick all day, but I'm not in the camp of liberals policing each other, right? We have bigger fish to fry. And again, the people that are most affected by these tax cuts are always going to be the poor and disenfranchised. And it's the people who know the least amount about finances that are getting, again, bait and switched. Oh, we're going to do this for you. We're going to lower grocery prices. You can afford a home. Where are we looking? What are you talking about? And that's not coming out of nowhere. And again, none of those promises have been followed on. And it's really, really upsetting to see. It is.
And another story for another day is how inflation truly works. The average person couldn't tell you how it works, but let me give you a 30-second synopsis. When the government puts more money into the marketplace, the average middle class and poor American don't get their hands on the money. The corporations get it. And because there's more money in the marketplace, they get the excuse of saying we got to raise our prices because there's more money floating around. The problem is your ass didn't get the money. So not only are they getting it up front again, but then they get it on the back end because they get to raise prices on you, and the prices go up like a fallen Elon Musk rocket ship, and then they stair step their way down, ladies and gentlemen. Understanding that and understanding the progressive policies that have been put in place to try to help you, and at the very least help you get better. And like Alexis said, there is no perfect party. But the one that is better for the overall success of everybody, I do contend, is the Democratic Party. And having said that, let us know what you think. We'll move on to Alexis's second component of things she wanted to talk about. By the way, subscribe. Her link is in the description. Mine is there too. The podcast link is down there as well. Alexis wanted to talk about how we have certain issues in our own community. So white folks, listen up. We're going to let y'all in at the cookout from afar, okay? We'll let ears be in the cookout at things that we happen to deal with in our own community, black classism and elites. I got another video for you, Alexis. You get first word on it. Here we go.
So I did a post discussing Black women on the Real Housewives franchise, and elitism came up. I did not expect this response. Man, I love y'all. While I love the fact that we are having conversation about it, I also noticed that there is some confusion as to what Black elitism looks like. So here's the definition. This is a term used to address classism in the Black community where individuals consistently attempt to be exclusive, particularly when it comes to their educational and socioeconomic status, and they redefine their Black identity along the lines of a white canon and ultimately demonize their backgrounds in order to fill or to portray themselves as being superior to other Black people. I said several times in the comments, it's okay to be Black and to want to achieve success. Somebody said I was elitist for wearing a Black doctor shirt in the video. I'm like, elitism doesn't mean that you can't be proud of your accomplishments. Because if I was a Black lawyer, I would wear a shirt that says Black lawyer. If I'm a Black chiropractor, I would do the same thing. I'm a firm believer Black people should be celebrated. And when you come from a marginalized community and you accomplish something, there's nothing wrong with being proud of that. I'm proud of my accomplishments, and also I know that they are tools to help liberate the Black community. It's not something that I flaunt or I say that I'm better than the next person for having it. So I just wanted to clarify what elitism is because a lot of y'all are confused about it. But yeah, let's keep this conversation going. Also, this book clearly outlines what I'm talking about. So if you haven't read it, I want you to read Inside America's Black Upper Class, Our Kind of People. I know they have a series on it, but the series doesn't know justice. Get the book.
Damn.
Alexis, I try to find videos. When you tell me what you want, I try to make sure I provide the right options Floor is yours. What do you think?
You killed that. I'm gonna have to go and follow that creator because she expertly explained that. So when I look at the way Black elitism works in our community, it's kind of a twofold issue, right? Black exceptionalism is its own thing. We need to be uplifting and amplifying the achievements in our community. Like, yes, like she said, Black lawyers and doctors, all these people, young Black kids need good examples, like desperately need good examples. But people need to understand that they can aspire and have ambition to be whatever it is the fuck they want to be. And that's okay. But then on the other hand, there is this whole society that does not allow us to be mediocre. Like, white people can be mediocre and get so far ahead doing absolutely nothing. They can fail upwards again and again and again. And I know for myself,
sounds like you talk about the president.
Yeah, no, there you go. No, and it's not a secret. It's how does a 32 convicted felon become president, right? It's insane and ludicrous, but that is our reality that we're living in. So again, like for Black people specifically, when we try and uplift ourselves and get to this sense of notoriety and acclaim, whether it's, wealth or fame, etc., we have to uplift each other at the same time that we're doing that. But also, there doesn't need to be these huge requirements and expectations for greatness. To just live in your own joy and truth should be enough as well.
Well said. And I oftentimes see a lot of Black people do something that a lot of people that migrate to America do. They want to assimilate to what they think is power, which is white.
Yes.
And then I'll just throw some names out there. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Jason Whitlock, Candace Owens, and several others that think that they are above the Black community. Clarence Thomas, that think they are above the Black community, and somehow or another think that their skin got bleached like Michael Jackson, and that them people that they're trying to appease don't see their skin color. And we always say, let your ass get in trouble, or let your ass desperately need something. Your color will be seen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we know in our community that our community has issues. We know that. We know why we have issues. And we've been talking about it this whole video. A lot of it is education. Then another big portion is the barriers put in front of us, not only to get education, but to prosper. So we get it, but that doesn't mean that when you achieve something, you have to turn your back on the community. When you achieve something, find a way to help uplift the community is what we're talking about here. My wife's a doctor. And for whatever reason, she struggles to let people know her story. This chick was the valedictorian of her school. And she's Black, if you're wondering.
Yes, ma'am.
And at one point in time, she had to stay in a homeless shelter, ladies and gentlemen. And she's shy about telling that story. And I'm like, honey, this will motivate young girls to know that they can do it too. But I would prefer her be shy than all of a sudden say, I don't want to deal with them Black folk, because you know how them Black folks is. They late all the time. They don't know how to run business and all that. Yeah, we do have that. But what you do is you try to uplift people. And you try to let people know that we have to set a standard in this country that usually has to supersede our white counterparts, as Alexis said as we started this thing off. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said all that to say, be proud of taking yourself to the next level, but also remember to try to uplift the rest of the community, and don't try to ostracize the community the way those jump off the cabin Uncle Toms tend to do that we just recently named.
Man, and I recognize too, obviously, Lamont, like, first of all, congratulations to your wife. That is an incredible accomplishment and achievement. Like I said, should be uplifted and amplified always. Bragging on her, I love that. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people, when they get a couple steps up, they know, let me kick the ladder down behind me. That is not how we move forward as a community. And I know it's tough because, a lot of other communities, white people specifically, they don't feel this burden of an entire community, like having that on your back. They don't feel that obligation. It's a different sense of cultural duty, and it's not required. But you know what? How do you think we're going to get ahead as a people if we don't look out for each other? That is the number one thing we should always take away from this. And I agree with you 100%. It is sometimes a closeness and proximity to whiteness that these people are chasing. When I aspire and have all my ambitions and goals, I'm not aspiring to put myself in rooms with white people. That is not the aspiration. It's to achieve the greatest heights of what I am capable of as a person. And that does not mean betraying my community for whiteness, not even a little bit.
Right. And I'm like you, I achieve to put myself in the room with whomever the best people are. And the best people that haven't been stepped on. That's what I achieve to do. And I also achieve to bring others in that room with me from my community. And it would be very easy for me and my wife to want to turn our back on the Black community, because I'll keep it 100 with you. We owned and operated a child care center, and we came up with a program that was very similar to the Harlem Children's Zone project that they have in New York. We had one that we were trying to institute in Greensboro. And all the local Black organizations that they tell you to go get help from, they basically shunned us because it wasn't our time, because they're older. It was old money. And they seen us back in those days as possibly, I don't know, a young threat. I don't know what it was, but they shunned us. They didn't help us. And ultimately we had to pivot. And it was our own people that done that. But do I give up on our own people? No, I just recognize that there are some people you've got to watch, but as a collective, we're still trying to uplift everybody.
100%, 100%. It's a balance. And, everyone always says, like, not all skin folk or kin folk, but like,
right.
you can be skeptical. You can have discernment, right? You can use your best judgment, but you have to lead with compassion and empathy first. At least that's how I always try and lead my life.
Same here, ladies and gentlemen. Post your comments. Let us know what you think. Be sure to go check this sister out on TikTok. Her link is in description. Be sure to get the podcast, Politics of Being Black in America. Wherever you get your podcast, link is in description for that. And we will go to the last subject we're going to cover today, which is this atrocious tax bill that's coming down the pike. Alexis, what's the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life?
Oh, God, I could. Maybe a picture of Trump golfing.
Okay, well, let me make that picture even worse. What if I gave you a picture of Trump holding a golf club sitting on the toilet, naked?
No, I'm out. I'm out.
That's this tax bill, ladies and gentlemen. And for whatever the reason, these Republicans that are always budget hawks, when the progressives want to give money to the middle class and poor, that are always, no, you can't do that. In the House, they said yes to Trump. I mean, they didn't go Destiny's Child, no. They said yes. But finally, when we get to the Senate, we've got some Republicans whose balls have finally dropped and they're standing up to Trump. And here's one that I was going to chastise real bad if he let it go. But take a look at this. He explains to you clearly why this bill is terrible. And this is coming from a Republican. You MAGA maggots that are going to watch this and try to say it's always progressive saying this is coming from a seasoned Republican. Take a look.
Let me break this all down for you because this was a sight to behold. So you had MAGA Republican Senator Rand Paul saying that somebody's got to stand up against this atrocious, ridiculous, horrible budget bill. And then he described Donald Trump and MAGA Mike as the emperors with no clothes. Watch this.
Somebody has to stand up and yell, the emperor has no clothes, and everybody's falling in lockstep on this. Pass the big, beautiful bill. Don't question anything. Well, conservatives do need to stand up and have their voice heard. This is a problem we've been facing for decades now, and if we don't stand up on it, I really fear the direction the country is going.
Alexis, he said all that, right? Let's see how long he stand on business, because we've seen them too often talk that tough talk, and then they capitulate to something that we never know about, something nefarious. Usually it's that if you don't work with us, we're going to primary you, or we're going to take away some of the contributions we give to you. They'll do anything. Usually the Republicans tend to fall in line. But on this bill, not only is Trump trying to lower taxes on the rich again and cut services on middle class and poor again, but he also wants to raise the debt limit to get things done. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember when Obama raised the debt limit $1. Y'all was literally about to try to push liberals off a cliff with their grandma, acting like it was something that we couldn't do. Trump wants to raise this bitch $1 trillion, and the House just bats an eye and says, "Go ahead, Trump. We'll do it." I'm wondering how long the Senate have this backbone before they fall in line. Hopefully, they will keep the backbone till we get the midterms. But at the very least, they will have to pass some kind of budget resolution to keep paying the bills of the government. But at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that they stop this thing because it is horrible for the middle class, in particular those benefiting from Medicare, SNAP, and other small benefits that some of y'all haven't even read in the bill. And my question to you, Alexis, is when you hear and see and read about this bill, what has been going through your mind?
I am disappointed, but unfortunately not surprised. Everything with the Republican Party feels like kind of what we marketers call a bait and switch. They'll lure you in with the promise of one thing and then turn tuck tail and give you something else entirely different. And it's actually really refreshing to even see Rand Paul kind of pushing back on this and calling for people to, hey, let's look a little closer at the fine print, guys, before we just sign off on something that's going to basically essentially fuck everybody. But I don't know how long he's going to be able to stand on business like that. I'm rooting for him, and I rarely root for Republicans, but it's kind of the old playbook, you know, we're again disenfranchising the middle class and the poor. All of the 99% suffers while we continue to uplift and give more money to the 1% elite, which is not the way this country needs to be moving.
Absolutely. And before I give the last word, I want to shout out Rashonda Percy, like chatting with a friend. And my big homie Power is taking, not giving, which you guys might see on Saturday. Another on the rise TikToker. Alexis, I would love for you two to link up sometime and talk politics and education and liberation of our people. He does an excellent job. You guys subscribe to him. His link is in the video description as well. I'll say it like this. We continue to give our power to the richest among us who don't want to give us power when we've always had power if we could collectively vote properly. Now, again, no party is perfect, but we have historically seen the party that puts principles and policies in place that generally help the majority of people and not the special interests of the rich. And what's been happening here recently, because we've given up so much of that power to the rich, their vote, in essence, counts more than mine and yours, because not only do they get to vote, which is what we all get to do, they also get to influence with their money who's running, which we might not care for, and also what policies are on the table, which oftentimes we don't care for. And the more we continue to do that over the years, the more we lose control of the wheel, and the more we have to be beholden to these buffoons. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's old cliche of calling your senators and saying no to this shit, but do it anyway. Just do it. I mean, for some of them, the fear that they might lose office does bug them a little bit, because this is the most cushiony job you can get in America. Trust me, their asses only show up to work maybe 5 hours a whole week. They make their aides do everything else. They've got pages. The only thing they literally got to do is get their ass up, come in there and say, hey, I'm here, vote, and keep it moving. Yay. And a lot of times their asses can't even do that. They vote present because they're not there. So post your comments, y'all. Let us know what you think. Links are in description. Alexis, we hope you've had fun here. Any parting words you would like to give the people of what they can look forward to when they come visit you on your channel?
Literally a little bit of everything, but most importantly and first and foremost, empathy, compassion, and fun.
That's what brought me to the channel. And by the way, she is a Marvel girl. And y'all see y'all see my little family back there.
I love it.
My baby and my wife. And you see the Captain America right here on the wall. So y'all know I've been down with Marvel for years. And what Alexis doesn't know is I'm writing superhero scripts as we speak of our own brand, Black superhero scripts. And I'm working as hard as I can to get this thing to come to full screen. So you guys want to support us? All you got to do is subscribe. Costs you nothing. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get that life gain. Be sure to subscribe to this young sister. We will definitely have her back when her schedule merits. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we out. All right, my